Hello, welcome to channel Al Talks. This is my first podcast, one of many, I hope. This channel will be mainly to chronicle my start into stand up, which I started a little while ago. But before we get into that, I'd like to just say how I got into comedy. How it all started was just watching TV shows, various comics. My favorite back in the day used to be 8 out of 10 Cats on the BBC, Jimmy Carr, Sean Locke. That was a great TV show, still is. I watch it from time to time. That kind of got my comedy juices flowing. And then later on, I started watching various comics on Netflix, and the ones that stood out to me were Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz, Ari Shaffir, Duncan, Brian Redban. Basically, Joe Diaz, I think, is one of the best comics going. Even though he doesn't think himself, he always puts himself down. He says that none of the work I ever do is good. But in my opinion, I think it's one of the best. Other comics that I enjoy would be Bill Burr, Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura, and Tom's wife Christina. Other Another comic whose work I greatly enjoy is Bobby Lee. His podcast Tiger Belly is great. I will try and watch as many episodes as possible. I love his guests. I love the way how it's produced. What else have we got to talk about? Another comic I really enjoy is Gabriel Iglesias, also known as Fluffy. Fluffy always puts out quality content. All his stand up shows are great. I've watched all of them, they're very funny. He's a very creative man, never stops working. Another comic I really enjoy, George Lopez. Everybody knows him, he's been around in the business for years. Other comics, another comic, Hannibal Buress, who I think has big puts kind of his own really unique twist on the way he performs stand up, and his latest special, which is available on YouTube, is brilliant without a doubt. Other comics, let me see, the Eliza Schlesinger, who as well puts her own unique twist in the way she performs in her sets and stand-ups. Uh, Someone who's pretty much started off the podcasting uh, industry, Mark Maron, who I actually seen in his live. I live in Ireland, so he came a couple of years ago before the pandemic hit. It was a pleasure to see him perform. I've watched the Maron show. I've seen all of his specials, and to see actually, to actually see a comic live on stage was a treat. At the time when I seen Mark Maron, he was recording for his stand-up special End Times Fun. So I've always heard on the Joe Rogan podcast, Joey Diaz talk about this as well, how they start with bits and they work on it, which is why they don't like people recording them when they do sets in comedy clubs, which is one of the reasons Dave Chappelle doesn't allow any phones at his shows. And so when the End Times Fun special got released, it was very interesting to actually have seen a comic do the bits and work on them and then get them ready for the special. Uh, it was great to see that. Other comics that I like is a couple from New York. Jeff Ross and Dave Attell, their Bumpin' Mics is probably one of the most unique shows in terms of comedy ever. It just completely changed the dynamic, and it was really fun to watch. The other comics that I enjoy would be John Mulaney. He comes across as somebody who can do a set on Saturday Night Live, but he has a way of presenting himself that's different to others, which I really enjoy. So where I do my stand-up sets is it's a small room above a pub in the centre of Dublin City in Ireland. The pub is called the Halfpenny Bridge Inn, and the set itself is called the Battle of the Axe. It was established by a man called Tony Ferns in 1996 and has hosted numerous Irish acts that have gone on to perform in TV both here in Ireland and across the world. So it was a great pleasure to perform there before the pandemic. Hopefully once this pandemic blows over we can get back in there and do more sets, which I will talk about in later recordings whenever all of this blows over, hopefully soon. It's been difficult obviously with the pandemic to do any shows because they're all cancelled for the time being. The products that I'm currently using to record is this Mantis, which is my microphone. It's from Trust. The camera is also from Trust. It's the Vero. They're not expensive. The camera was I think €58 and the microphone was 38. So it's not overly expensive setup. But I find that it works quite well. I like how this camera looks with the shield and all. The microphone, not the camera. So those are the products I use to record. I'll get back to talking about more comics to enjoy. Chris D'Elia. What I really like about Chris D'Elia is the voices that he does. Certain comics have, like Gabriel Iglesias does, the woman voice. Oh my god! So that's always funny. But Chris D'Elia does the certain voice that he does is quite enjoyable for me. There's another comic who is famous for using the word cunt a lot, which made it more acceptable in the US, is Jim Jeffries. Hails from down under in Australia. Another great comic is Trevor Noah, who's the host of The Daily Show. His stories about growing up in South Africa and the craziness and the violence that South Africa was experiencing at the time since he was born during apartheid is quite interesting. I have a few friends from South Africa who have told me various stories about the place. While it's very unique country and it's far removed from the land that I have lived in before and live in now. Yeah, I look forward to doing more of these episodes in the later coming days and weeks, hopefully years. So stay tuned. I will post the next one. I will try and post them once a week. Probably I will aim for Tuesdays if it's not possible. We shall see. But thank you for watching and have a good day.